All right, hey everyone, welcome into another episode of the Spoiler Alert podcast. Dylan and Pi back again. We have quite a handful of things to review today. We got, and they're all actually recent movies, which is nice. I've been kind of behind for the most part, but we got Abigail, Knox Goes Away, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, Monkey Man, and Sasquatch Sunset, Ty's new favorite movie.
Gosh.
So we will be discussing those and whether you should spend your time seeing them or not. And we're the title of this episode, Sasquatch and Monkeys, is really what it is. And Ty, you made the point that we should have waited yet another week because Planet of the Apes is coming out next week.
I know. If we could only just waited one more week.
We fucked up.
I don't know. I don't know if I could have waited another week. See, Sasquatch Sunset was killing me. I had to see it.
Yeah, I had to see it. Also, probably wouldn't have been in theaters.
Yeah. And let's just say it's a massive regret. Huge mistake.
Them Sam Squanches.
Gosh.
So let's hop right into it. The movie's coming out this week, tomorrow, actually. But we have, first up, Challengers. Tashi, a former tennis prodigy turned coach, is married to a champion on a losing streak. Her strategy for her husband's redemption takes a surprising turn when he must face off against his former best friend and Tashi's former boyfriend. Oh my God. So that's the story here. It's Zendaya, Mike Faced, who was Riff in the West Side Story, which sucked. Josh O'Connor, who was apparently Prince Charles in The Crown on Netflix. The director here, Luca, Guadagnino, who directed Call Me By Your Name, which I think that won some awards, so pretty decent movie there.
Okay, everything's starting to line up now. If he directed that and this.
Yes, it is making quite a bit of sense. And then the writer, absolute nobody. This is the only thing he has written.
I just know everybody's excited for this movie because everybody wants to see Zendaya acting up.
Yeah, that's true. You get her, normal, quote unquote, normal in Dune, and then she's gonna pop off in this. I guess kind of like she does in Euphoria.
Yeah. And then I've heard a lot of. I saw a really funny tweet about it. I wish I could remember what it said. It said something like a bisexual tennis biopic or whatever like that, and I was like, oh gosh. I mean, I'm probably gonna see it. It's on the list. It's getting pretty solid reviews so far.
Yeah, and that. I don't want to say it completely confuses me, but it's kind of those things where, like, do movies that kind of pander get a little bit higher ratings from the critics? Because it's at 85 out of 100 on Metacritic.
Yeah, it's a 92% certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, which is high. That's like
huge.
That's like universal acclaim pretty much. But 2 hours and 11 minutes, it's kind of a long movie for a drama about tennis. One thing is, I'm just not a tennis guy, so that's already going to take me out of it. I couldn't give less of a shit about tennis.
Oh, man. Okay, so trailer's going here on the page. So she's pretty much going to get like Eiffel Towered, it feels like, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
that's what everybody wants to see. She's going to be acting a fool in this.
All right, so we'll probably see it.
That's why I'm going to see it.
Yeah, I respect that she's open to doing crazy wild shit like this. I guess kind of much like Sydney Sweeney was, and it's those Euphoria folks.
Yeah, they're wild gals. I don't know, they're crazy.
I saw a stand-up dude, had to be either YouTube Shorts or TikTok, but he was like making fun of, like, he's like, I love that both Cobra Kai and Euphoria exist, and I would love to think if someone from Cobra Kai transferred to the Euphoria high school is like, hey guys, where do we do karate? And they're like, yeah, we do heroin and fuck each other's parents. Like, just crazy shit like that. So that's what we got coming in here. That's the big one. But one that I'm probably more excited about is Boy Kills World, a fever dream action film that follows Boy, a deaf person with a vibrant imagination. When his family is murdered, he is trained by a mysterious shaman to repress his childish imagination and become an instrument of death. So we get another Skarsgård here. We get Bill in this.
Oh, yeah.
Coming back. What? Is this his first movie since It? That's pretty big? Or
I feel like he was in John Wick 4, wasn't he?
He was. That's true.
Okay. So I feel like besides that, then yeah.
So back to his... I guess it's not really a villain, but kind of a villain arc here for him. You
Producers of Evil Dead and Barbarian. Hey,
there's quite a few interesting names here. You get Famke, which is a ridiculous name, but Famke. Jansen, who's Jean Grey in X-Men.
I was gonna say she's Jean Grey. That's the only thing I've known her in.
And then Jessica Roth, who's Tree Gelbman. Man, that wasn't even a hard one, and I fucked it up. In the Happy Death Day movies. And then
okay.
Michelle Dockery from Downton Abbey, which I haven't watched. It's too British for me.
Yeah, no chance I'm watching that anytime soon, ever.
Director hasn't done anything, but the writer, he wrote the Quantum Break game.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Kind of interesting, but it looks fun.
Yeah. It kind of has a video game vibe to it.
Yeah, it definitely does. It even the like poster kind of has that vibe to it.
Kind of a lame title for me, not like Boy Kills World. I feel like they could have maybe thought of something a little bit better.
Yeah, something a little more.
Skarsgård's like a full-on like man. He's like probably like mid-30s at least.
He looks like a Street Fighter guy in the trailer.
Exactly. I was thinking, he kind of looks like Cobra Kai. Speaking of that, he kind of looks like that.
He's just an arcade character.
Pretty much.
Also
some big ass eyes on him.
He always, massive eyes. The young boy, is that the son from The Boys? Yes, it is. Yep. That's Homelander's kid from The Boys.
Oh, okay. I thought that kid looked familiar.
Kind of. I am now completely remembering this trailer because the inner monologue voice is H. John Benjamin.
Okay.
Which Bob's Burgers, Archer.
Oh, okay.
So it's just his voice the whole time. I don't think Skarsgård speaks.
I don't even think I've seen the trailer for this. I've heard of it, but I don't think I like actually watched the trailer for it.
Yeah, I definitely saw the trailer and I cracked up just because I like H. John Benjamin.
I'm watching it now, and it kind of seems like Hunger Games and like Ready Player One-ish with like John Wick.
Yeah, that's fair. Kind of like the futuristic. I don't even know what to call it.
Maybe a little bit of Scott Pilgrim in there as well.
yeah. Scott Pilgrim's probably a great thing to think of it because there he is. He's playing in an arcade.
I think that was it.
That's exactly what this is.
I've just sold myself on this movie. I'm gonna see it.
I am excited for it. Next one here that's probably not going to be great is called Breathe in East Flatbush Mother and Daughter. I don't know what that means. Barely surviving in an oxygenless world, must band together to protect each other when intruders arrive, claiming to know their missing fathers. So you get Jennifer Hudson, yes, the singer.
Wow.
And Mila Jovovich, who is from the original Resident Evil movies.
I was going to say, what the hell?
And Dazed and Confused, which she has not had a good run.
No.
Recently.
No, not at all. I would say maybe like she's like more of like a cult iconic actor. Like her movies like have like a very like distinct audience. I don't think any of her movies are good, if I'm being honest with you. Holy shit.
It's been bad. It currently has a 3.6 on IMDb. I just cannot see this going well.
This seems like something that would be on like Apple TV or something. It's got like a similar premise to like, that show C or whatever.
Right.
Oh, there's not that much oxygen in the world, but that one's like, oh, nobody can see or whatever. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Get some strange concepts here, but I don't know, man. It's a shame because I really liked her in the Resident Evil movies.
I never watched them before. Like I love all the Resident Evil games, so I think I really would like to maybe watch the movie sometime. Apparently, the newest one on Netflix is apparently just terrible. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's completely horrible. But the OG Resident Evil, and I like Resident Evil Nemesis even more. Mm-hmm. Those are just kick-ass movies. Oh yeah. I forgot she was in The Fifth Element. She's the Lilu in The Fifth Element, and also in The Fourth Kind, which I remember growing up. The Fourth Kind was supposed to be like this super scary movie. Yeah. And I watched it, and it wasn't. Like I saw it in the theaters thinking it was going to be like something terrifying, and it was like way too like convoluted and dumb. I think it was trying to do too much that my like dumb high school brain couldn't even pick up that it was like what it even was.
That's possible. Like they were trying to like make it feel like, oh, these are a recount of real events.
Yeah, it's like, they're
just. I'm like, okay, shut up. This
didn't do much. 2009 it was too. I just had to check and see. 2009, yeah, no.
And then, sadly, talking of people who are also kind of on the downturn here, John Travolta is in Cash Out, which is about a professional thief, Mason, attempts his biggest heist with his brother, robbing a bank. When it goes wrong, they're trapped inside, surrounded by law enforcement. Tension rises as Mason negotiates with his ex-lover, the lead negotiator. So, like I said, John Travolta, Quavo, for some reason.
Quavo?
Lucas Haas, who I guess is in good movies for some reason, but he's in Inception and The Revenant, so must be buddies with Leo or something. Kristen Davis, who's from Sex and the City, so don't really care or know about her. Director hasn't done dick, but it is the writer of the original Bad Boys, Die Hard 2, and Money Train. So this guy was kind of like a 90s dude.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Probably why he got Travolta.
I'm looking to see what his best movie has been since.
Oh God.
Since like, I don't know, Pulp Fiction. I don't think he's had a good one since Pulp Fiction.
Man, he always kind of plays
a lot of really bad shit.
He plays the bald like gangster dude all the time now. Like that's what he was in The Punisher. Forever ago. The John Gotti movie sucked.
Oh, it's terrible.
Oh yeah, he was Robert Shapiro in American Crime Story.
Wild Hogs.
Wild Hogs, yeah. Yeah, no, he's not. He's had a tough go.
I think he just like ever since his run in like the 80s and 90s or whatever, he's not. He just blew up on them and then just has not done anything great since.
Yeah, it's that Scientology took him.
Yeah,
still working for Tom Cruise though.
He's like the only one that's going
he's
well.
He's the fucking man. Yeah,
he's still killing it.
I love Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise rules.
I got nothing bad to say about Tom.
Yeah.
Or Scientology. I don't want them to come after us.
Yeah, Scientology, totally legit.
It's cool.
Yeah. Space aliens in a volcano. Yeah.
That guy. That's his. I can't remember his name, but he's
L.
so
Ron
cool.
Hubbard. Yeah.
He's so cool. Yeah.
We don't got to talk too much here about Cash Out. That just seems like a B straight to VHS type film.
Yeah. In a world without VHSs these days, it's still going straight to VHS somehow.
Yeah. They're going to make like 100 copies. It's going to be a collector's item. Humane is the next one here on the list. In the wake of an environmental collapse that is forcing humanity to shed 20% of its population, a family dinner erupts into chaos when a father's plan to enlist in the government's new euthanasia program goes horribly awry. Interesting enough premise.
Yeah, that is crazy.
However, first-time director, but you get two familiar faces. You know, they're not the biggest names, but Jay Baruchel, who is Seth Rogen's buddy, is in This Is the End. He's in How to Train Your Dragon, Knocked Up. She's Out of My League, which also filmed in Pittsburgh, by the way.
Oh, I never knew that.
They go to a Pens game, and most of it is filmed at the Pittsburgh airport.
Oh, that's cool.
Fun fact. But he is in this, as well as Emily Hampshire, who's well known mostly for Schitt's Creek.
Okay.
Which I never really got into. It seems
me either. I never did.
I don't know if it's more of a girly show, but Sophie really loved it.
I think I got that vibe. It was like a girly show.
But yeah, those are the folks in this one. I don't know if I'll care enough to see it. This feels like one if maybe there's nothing else to watch, maybe I'll pop it on.
Yeah, maybe catch it streaming or something.
Yeah.
I feel like this would be a solid, throw it on Netflix movie.
Speaking of streaming, Shudder's new film, Infested, will be coming out tomorrow. Residents of a rundown French apartment building battle against an army of deadly, rapidly reproducing spiders. So somehow sounds better than, what was the other one? Was it Crawl? What was the other one? Shitty. Sting? Was that what it was?
The one that just came out. Yeah. Okay.
So this sounds slightly better. I don't recognize anyone in it. They are all French actors and actresses, so sadly I don't recognize anyone in it. But neat enough concept, and horror movies, you got to take risks with those.
There's a lot of stuff on Shudder that's probably like honestly might be worth a watch, but I don't think this is gonna be one of them. But that being said, a lot of stuff on Shudder.
Yeah. Is it bundled with anything, or do you have to like?
I don't know. I think it's just its own thing, but I think it's like $5 a month. I think it's so dirt cheap. But especially like around Halloween, I think it'd be a good thing to have. But I mean, most of the stuff that we find on there, we can find elsewhere.
That's true. That is true. Yep, $6 a month. Cancel anytime.
Well, there you go.
But
I know that like Late Night with the Devil, I think, is already on Shudder.
That makes sense. Oh, you bundle it with AMC Plus.
Oh gosh,
and it's cheaper if you do that.
Oh, really?
So AMC Plus plans start at $4.99, but if you do just Shudder, it's $5.99.
What in the world is actually on AMC Plus, though? Is that the TV channel
Walking
that had
Dead.
I was gonna say like Breaking Bad and Walking Dead?
That's literally the only thing they have.
It can't be Breaking Bad too, because isn't Breaking Bad on Netflix?
Breaking Bad
It was.
is on Netflix. Yes, it still is.
So they license it out to Netflix, so they can't even have it on their own streaming service. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking wild. But I don't know. They're still riding high on the 8,000 Walking Dead spinoffs, and
pass.
Quit it.
But if you want to watch a decent horror movie, get Shudder.
Get Shudder, yeah, cheap. Do the 7-day trial. Just burn through all the good movies and then never pay for it again.
Sponsor us, Shudder. We will gladly take your sponsorship. I feel like it can't be that hard to get a Shudder sponsorship.
I mean, pay for it, totally. Yeah. It's worth it. Shit, I think I fucked us out of that one.
We'll cut it.
Yeah. But Ty, that's all we got coming out. Not a ton, but a decent handful.
Yeah, okay. Not a ton for news this week either, but we got a little bit of stuff here. So starting off, we already have Guy Ritchie's next film planned and in the works. He's really just been cranking them out lately. And after Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, his next release is set. It's a movie called In the Gray. I guess it was revealed at CinemaCon. It's going to feature a handful of regular collaborators reuniting with him, including Jake Gyllenhaal and Henry Cavill and Eliza Gonzalez or whatever I think her name is. They're both just in Ungentlemanly Warfare, though. The film is set to release in theaters January 17th, 2025, and is currently in post-production. Apparently, it's set to follow a group who operates in the middle of criminality and the law, with Cavill, Gyllenhaal, and Gonzalez joining forces in search for billions of dollars in stolen cash. Further plot details are being kept under wraps. I mean, this just sounds like every other Guy Ritchie movie, but at the same time, we know what to expect, but they're always good, so I'll probably end up seeing it. We got some new rules here for the 2025 Oscars. I haven't really went into too depth with these to take a look at them, so let's get into it now. The Academy of Motion Pictures and Arts has revealed some rule changes for the 97th Annual Academy Awards next year. A number of the tweaks have been approved by the Board of Governors. I didn't know they had a Board of Governors, but they expanded theatrical run of 7 days, consecutive or non-consecutive, in 10 of the top 50 U.S. markets, no later than 45 days after the initial release in 2024. I don't know what that means. So I'm guessing you have to have a theatrical run of at least 7 days in 50 different markets to be in contention for Oscars, I guess? Something like that. But for later in the year films with expansions after January 10th, 2025, distributors must submit release plans to the Academy for verification. Release plans for later in year films must include a planned expanded theatrical run. Let's see here. There's a couple other things. I wrote these all down and they just all sound like a bunch of nonsense that we don't even know. I have no idea what they're talking about. But one big thing here, though, is that there's a couple changes to animated film and international films, too. But like, it's too boring to get in depth. I don't think we're going to notice any of these changes, but there were changes to the Academy Awards here. And the only major thing that I read in this was that, two things here. Cycles Academy Award eligibility dates are January 1st to December 31st, 2024. So anything that comes out in between then. And then also Dallas has replaced Miami as one of the major U.S. metropolitan city, like, I guess, all, like movie hubs or whatever.
Yeah.
So the others are still Los Angeles, New York, the Bay Area, and Atlanta. Oh, and Chicago. The 97th Oscars are going to be handed out Sunday, March 2nd next year. And that's a week earlier than this year. So I don't really see how any of those changes are going to affect anything that we would be looking for at the Oscars, but changes nonetheless. Like I said, slow news week here. One thing that we do have is 28 Years Later casting. So the new 28 Years Later trilogy from director Danny Boyle and Sony Pictures is gaining momentum here now with a bunch of new people joining the cast. Jodie Comer, Aaron Taylor Johnson, and Ralph Fiennes are going to be in it, which is going to be the direct sequel to 28 Days Later. I might have mentioned 28 Years Later in a past episode, but now we actually have some casting. The original 28 Days Later, like I said before, probably 2002, was all Cillian Murphy. Hey, he wakes up from a coma to discover the world had been overrun with zombies following an outbreak of a virus. So now this is going to be the sequel, and it's going to be 28 years later, after 28 weeks later. So keep your dates and times in mind here. I'm ready for a new, fresh zombie movie, though. I feel like it's been a while.
Yeah, give us something good at least, not some rehashed. What was that? Where Evil Lurks movie? Like that was a new take on zombie movies because it wasn't just zombies; it was demon possession.
Trying to think of the last zombie movie I saw. I think it's probably that one that's on Netflix. It had like Batista in it or something like that. Army of the Dead. That was it. It was on Netflix. That's still a couple years ago now at this point. Man, yeah. I'm trying to think of the one that I saw like in theaters most recently. I'm thinking World War Z. That had to have been it. It had to have been. So
it had to be.
I'm here for more zombie movies though. I guess it's like, we are going to get that the sequel to I Am Legend though. So that'll be coming eventually, I think. So that'll be one to look out for.
I wonder if The Walking Dead has kind of just ruined zombie movies just because there's so much Walking Dead series and shit going on.
I feel like it definitely has like inundated a little bit. Cause like if you are a huge zombie guy, you could just watch that show.
Yeah. But even that show has shit itself.
Oh, Cliff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Last thing here, though, that you saw the picture of is the Little Mermaid horror movie. So it wouldn't be right if I didn't have some kind of cheesy horror movie news each week. Next in line, though, after Winnie the Pooh and Mickey Mouse is the Little Mermaid horror movie. So even though it was originally published in 1837, the original tale of the Little Mermaid is now in public domain. And now MSR Media International is going to present their own horror version of it this year. It's officially been rated R for language, some violence, and brief nudity. In the film, Dr. Eric Prince, an archaeologist, makes a dramatic discovery on a small Caribbean island, proof of an ancient, advanced prehistoric society. While his dig is in process, he meets the mysterious and beautiful Aurora Bay and falls in love. Her arrival coincides with several mermaid sightings and strange disappearances. So this actually sounds really funny because I know for like a couple years there's been like trends on like YouTube and Twitter and people are like, mermaids are real. They're real, damn it. No, like it's just like some shitty like Photoshop stuff of like
a manatee.
With like boobs and hair. So like this could be, I mean, this is going to be terrible. No doubt about it. Just look at that girl. Look at them teeth. I think this would be so funny though, just to watch this one. This is going to be in that so bad it's good territory, just because.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not gonna go see this one in theater at all. Maybe it'll be on Shudder. Maybe I'll give it a watch on that. But they're just gonna keep cranking out these public domain horrors now. And that's really it. That's all I have for news. Not a ton this week. We do have a good bit of movies to talk about though.
We do. And right, I forgot. I wanted to bring up the shit I saw on IMDb when I came up because I got really confused. Open IMDb and it's Russell Crowe in The Exorcism, which
he was just in an exorcism movie.
Is he just Exorcist Man now? Like, what is going on?
Whenever I saw this, I thought it was like a sequel to that one that he did like a couple years ago, The Pope's Exorcist or whatever. No, it's just another Exorcist movie.
And actually, this actually kind of sounds a bit interesting. So, a troubled actor begins to unravel while shooting a horror film. His estranged daughter wonders if he's slipping back into past addictions or if there's something more sinister at play. So he's not an actual, he must be playing a priest or something and going nuts, thinking real shit's happening. He's like one of those method actors.
That's a lot more interesting than just being another exorcism movie. Now I'm actually want to see this.
Yeah, so that works out, because I was like, what the fuck? Why are we doing this again? But
I know, I was so confused because the Pope's Exorcist came out a year ago.
Yeah, and that was duty.
So bad. When is this one supposed to come out? Does it say?
June 7th.
Oh, so not too long from now.
Yeah, so that's exciting.
Speaking of Russell Crowe, I finally watched Gladiator the other night.
Fuck yeah, okay.
In its entirety. It's a 10 out of 10 movie. It fucking rules.
It's amazing. It's so good.
It's a 10 out of 10 movie. Now I can't wait for the second one. It's I don't know. I'm not a huge like Gladiator era movie guy.
Sure.
I just sometimes you've seen one, you've seen them off. You're like, this one, obviously the best.
I'm all about Roman gladiator stuff. I love the Rome Total War games.
Yeah,
Spartacus
war stuff. I like the whole Greek mythology stuff like that. So
that's
kind of on its way there a little bit.
Yeah, but you can kind of see now why I'm confused about a second one.
Right.
Yeah.
And apparently the second one's going to be like the little shithead kid.
It must be. I don't honestly know. I haven't dug super into it because I just want to be surprised.
Yeah.
Or just to bring it up on the pod. You know, that's another reason.
I really liked it though. So now I'm excited for the second one. I will be fully invested in the second one. Apparently though, I think it did just recently get like early preview screening somewhere, and people like said it was great.
Okay. Good enough.
I can't remember when that comes out. I think it's within, I want to say like November.
Gotcha. I hope it's good. I never hope any movie's bad for the most part, you know, unless it's something really stupid. But like, I'm just worried is what it comes down to. But hey, you get Denzel, you get Pedro Pascal, November 22nd.
Okay, so I knew it was November. Nice. Who does he play? It doesn't say.
There's no names for most of these people, it looks like. They all got sick, like Roman names, like Lucius and Gracchus.
Yeah, Phobos.
Yeah, they got sick names. Follows Lucius, who, yes, the son of Maximus is.
Okay.
Yeah. Wait,
no. What?
The son of Maximus's Lucilia. So it's not his son.
It's not his wife's. Yeah, it's not his son or his wife.
Right, because they died. They died.
Exactly. They got shit on. It's like Joaquin Phoenix's son, right? No. No. It's Joaquin Phoenix's nephew.
God damn. Okay.
His sister's son.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Took a bit to get there, and that's part of the problem. It's like we shouldn't have to like piece all these things together to get to there.
Yeah, why?
But who knows? I hope it's good. I hope it's awesome. I just get scared.
Yeah, shout out to it's her favorite movie of all time, Gladiator.
Fuck yeah.
Finally watched it.
See, girls usually like Troy.
I wonder why.
Troy? Yeah, Troy, they're loaded up. You get Orlando Bloom, Brad Pitt.
No, I refuse to watch that one now because this one is so good. I just know none of them are going to
it's no comparison.
Yeah.
But you should watch Spartacus, not the movie. The movie's also probably good, but the show from, I think it was on Stars.
Okay.
Or Showtime. It's sick. It's fucking awesome.
I have a running tally going of all the shows on my list now because I finally finished Fallout. So now I still have like The Gentleman, Three Body Problem, Reacher. I have so many shows on my list, but it keeps growing. I will watch them all eventually.
Hell yeah. Fallout show kicked ass. was super.
That reminds me, whenever we're done here, I need to go download the Fallout 4 Next Gen update on my Xbox.
Fuck yeah.
Because I'm going to play through that shit.
I was
trying to decide which one I want to play again, if I want to play Fallout 4 or if I want to do New Vegas. I never played New Vegas.
New Vegas is my favorite one of all time.
Okay, so I think I was going to do that one, but now that Fallout 4 got the Next Gen update, I'm just going to play Fallout 4 again for the first time.
That's fair. All right, Ty, let's get into some Convince Me to Sees. You want to kick it off first?
Yeah, I'll kick it off first. I saw so many movies last week. It was actually crazy. So I saw 3 movies last week. The first one I saw, Abigail. I won't get too in-depth with any of these except for probably any of them, really, because we did talk about them last week. We know who directed Abigail, though, and we know everybody in it. We said we would recognize Melissa Barrera, Catherine Newton, Angus Cloud, Dan Stevens, and Giancarlo Esposito. The young girl that plays Abigail, Alicia Weir, she's actually really good. But as per the usual lately, I went in, didn't see a lot of trailers for this, maybe 1 or 2 before a movie. But that was about it. So I didn't really know a ton going into it. I knew there was a little girl that was a vampire. This currently has a 7.1 on IMDb, a 65 on Metacritic, 84% certified fresh critic approval, and 87 audience approval. So not bad scores all around. It's only an hour and 49 minutes, which actually felt like a great runtime for this movie. Maybe could have trimmed some fat off the ending, I think. Gets a little bit like dicey there. That was the only part that I really didn't hate it, but I didn't. If they wanted to cut a little bit of time off, that was where it would be. It kind of drags out a little bit. But it's a cool mashup that I'm not sure we really get a ton of, and that's heist and horror. Okay. And comedy too, a little bit. It's more of a horror comedy at times than straight up horror, and that's not a bad thing. Without giving anything away, whenever certain people die, it's hilarious, and they make it look really well done with practical effects. Even though it's a little bit predictable at times, it's better than like a good bit of the horror we've gotten this year, and doesn't make you wait too long and drawn out in the beginning of the movie. Kind of gets right to it, which is always good. It's not just an average run-of-the-mill vampire movie. It's definitely worth a watch, and it feels quite rewatchable too. I ended up with an 8 on this one.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so pretty high. Still not my favorite horror movie of the year. I still think that's going to be Late Night with the Devil. But it's definitely up there.
Very cool. Yeah, you said it doesn't take too long to get into it. But at the same time, it feels like they could have trimmed some fat. Do you feel that like early on, or is that kind of something that as the movie keeps going, you're like, okay, wrap it up?
No, I think it does good in the beginning, getting right to it. Doesn't like a lot of horror movies like long and drawn out in the beginning. The only thing I think where they could have maybe tightened it up a little bit is the end of the movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And is it a lot of how much of is it? You said it's a mixture of like heist and horror. It's kind of the split there.
I would say the beginning of the movie is a straight up heist film. Everybody has their own little bit of maybe the first 20, 25 minutes of the movie or so. And you get introduced to each character. They all have their role in the heist, and they pretty much, they go through, they kidnap Abigail. Sure. So that's where the heist comes into play. And then the horror breaks out from there.
Oh yeah. And then you talk about can you tell us without a lot of spoilers, like, is she a vampire or is she just some sort of like monster?
She's a straight up vampire, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Awesome. And the people who had her where she got stolen from, they obviously know that. And they're like, yeah, you guys are fucked, or are they just like actually worried to get her back?
Now that is where you're going to have to see and find out.
All right. That's a good teaser.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. That actually does.
I like that one quite a bit. I would definitely check this one out whenever you get a chance.
Yeah. And that does kind of pop it pretty high up here. I'm going to pop it into our rating here. That currently sitting at 8, but it has the possibility to go to 2 depending on my rating.
That would be crazy if this movie ends up being 2 on the year. I don't foresee that happening, but not a bad movie.
Could be fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I will hop into my Convince Me to See, one of my 2. I'll start with the first one I saw, which was Knox Goes Away. We talked about this one a couple weeks ago. This is the one with Michael Keaton.
Okay.
He's starring in it, wrote it, and directed it. And so, honestly, didn't think I was going to really watch this one. I thought it was one I was going to let just kind of pass by. However, had some free time and threw it on. It was actually pretty good. To be honest, I was worried going into it, thinking it was just going to be kind of like, we talked about John Travolta earlier in this movie, where I just like, all right, older, used to be peak level actor, just kind of making random shit now. That's kind of what I expected from here. And, to an extent, it kind of was that. But it ended up being a decently smart movie. So the way I will describe it is kind of like Memento. That's the Nolan film.
Okay. Yeah.
Where he doesn't have straight up short-term memory loss or amnesia. He finds out early on in the movie that he is starting to develop a rare form of dementia.
Okay.
And it is spreading quickly. And so because of that, he wants to essentially get out of his assassin lifestyle. They talk about, he's not close with his family anymore because of what he does for a living. So he wants to get all of that set up before he essentially loses his mind.
Okay.
So there's a couple things that happen in the movie that reconnects him with his son, who's played by John Marston.
Oh, okay.
So from Sonic, Westworld, that game. Every time I say his name, I want to say, and actually now I gotta look and make sure I'm not saying it wrong, because it's John Marston from Red Dead.
That's exactly what I thought too. Yeah. It
is James Marston.
Oh, okay. I knew who you meant.
So yes. So I always get that name mixed up, but he plays Michael Keaton's son in this movie, and something happens to bring them back together. I won't say what. That will be part of it.
Okay.
But for the most part, it is a solid film. I think it has smart writing. The action is there. It's not so much focused on him being an assassin or anything like that. That's kind of background knowledge. While, there are a couple scenes where he's on the job, but not so much. Most of it is about him trying to get basically his life together before he loses his mind.
Okay.
So it plays smart, and it actually ends up being a little bit more of a crime drama, because somebody dies and they're trying to figure out who did it. And it's a mix between, okay, is he gonna get caught but not remember anything because he lost his mind, or is something else gonna happen? So it ends up being very thrilling. However, I will say the absolute worst part of this movie was the lead detective. She is insufferable. And the reason for it is I hate any character that is just like, I just have amazing intuition and can just fucking piece shit together randomly with no actual evidence. And like, that's exactly who she is. And not only that, like when her like partner like tries to ask her like, how do you even think that? What makes you think this? What makes you think that? She's like, man, my mom didn't want me to be a cop, but I wanted to be a cop, and that's just how I am. And I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? Like, none of that has anything to do with what you are doing. So she is just completely annoying the entire film. Kind of feels like a smartass, even though she isn't.
Okay.
So she does annoy me, and it's not. I won't blame the actress for this. It's not her fault. I think the character was just kind of written a bit poorly to be like that. But she is my main flaw in this film. Everything else is pretty good, pretty smart. It did feel a little bit long, kind of like you said with Abigail, where it's like, all right, wrap it up. Let's go. Tie up these loose ends. but it ended up good, and it is a film I will say that I enjoy because the ending isn't on par with every other ending of a similar movie. That's a really long-winded way to say it, but like, so I thought it was going to go this one way that every other movie written this way goes, and it didn't, and it made me happy because it was different. Al Pacino is also randomly in this. And
I was going to say, I wonder if he's buddies with old Keaton there.
He got to be, because he's fucking old, and he's in this. Yeah. And old Al is looking rough.
Looks like Oppenheimer to me.
But overall, I do recommend you seeing it. It's worth a watch. I gave it a 7 out of 10. So not horrible. And honestly, a big surprise based on.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I thought it was going to be just but it was pretty good.
Okay, that's exciting. I'm going to add that to the list then, because love a good surprise. And I like Michael Keaton. So
yeah,
it sounds like the only thing that could have been better about this movie is if he filmed it in Pittsburgh, because he's a Pittsburgh guy.
That's right. Get him in there. I think it was LA it was filmed in.
Okay.
Of course.
I'm looking at the cast, and there's a guy named John Hugenacker. Just had to point that out. Really funny last name there. Hugenacker.
Let me see who that's her partner, the other cop, who his face is also really familiar, and I had to look up what I knew him. He's in Jack Ryan, but I don't think that's where I recognize him. He's in Black Ops Cold War, Call of Duty game. But that's like his face, I'm just like, man, I've seen you.
He does have a very distinguishable face. I'm trying to look and see what I've seen him in, but
yeah, he seems to just always be like random background character.
Yeah, I guess so. It's okay. That one's going on the list though.
Yeah, decent watch.
Nice. Okay, I saw two more actually. Next one I saw, speaking of Guy Ritchie earlier, I saw The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. And kind of like I was saying earlier, at this point, with the exception of Covenant, which may be his best movie, and it's different than the rest of his movies, we know what to expect from Guy Ritchie movies, which isn't a bad thing at all. We get action and we get some comedy done in his style. This movie's no different, and it's just a squad of badasses killing Nazis.
All right, sick.
Like I said last week, we talked about it, so I won't go too in-depth to the plot and the cast, but we do get Henry Cavill and Alan Ritchson, both great castings in this movie, and I think they're both pretty underrated actors. Also, Alan Ritchson is absolutely huge guy. I want to watch Reacher now, but in this movie, he plays a guy called the Danish Hammer, so that's badass. It's currently got a 7.3 on IMDb with a 56 Metascore, 72% critic approval rating, and 93% audience approval rating. So high scores from audience, and it's just a really fucking cool movie, man. It's got an awesome score for it. It's got a lot of jazz in it, so they'll just be walking around, they'll be killing Nazis, and just like some smooth, cool jazz is playing. It's really just a squad of killers running through Nazis for 2 hours, which doesn't feel long at all. There's a good story behind it too. Quite a lot of cool kills, crazy kills, and it's funny a good bit too. Just like what we expect from Guy Ritchie. The one point they go to, he's recruiting his team, and he's like, we also need this guy. And they're like, well, he's trapped in a Nazi camp right now. He's like, we'll get him on the way. So they literally go through, they run through this Nazi camp, and they find his buddy hooked up to a car battery by his nips, and he's just like, hey man, it's been a while. He's like, oh yeah, thanks for you to come get me, whatever. And he's like, yeah, do you like want out? And he's like, yeah, this battery's still on if you don't mind. So he's the whole time they're just having a casual conversation, the guy's just hooked up to a battery by his nips and it's running. So that was really funny. There's not a whole much more to this movie than that. We focus on two different storylines. So one is just the squad of like Nazi hunting killers, and the other two are two undercover people that they're going to rendezvous with in the end. But also in the end, we learn that it's based on true events, which is in part they inspired the character of James Bond. So it's just real life badass motherfuckers that they all play. I got to look up his name real quick. Let's see here. Henry Cavill play. I can't remember. It's Gus March Phillips. Alan Richardson's Anders Lawson. And they like at the end, it shows pictures of real life people and like gives a story on like the missions they were on, and they're like, this like pretty much happened. These guys were all badasses. So it made me like the movie even more. But just another Guy Ritchie banger. Absolutely worth a watch. I think one of his better movies. Like I said, Covenant's still my favorite probably. I liked Operation Fortune quite a bit, but this is like easy 8.5 for me. Not a tough watch, not a long watch. Both movies I've seen so far this week in 8, but this one's a little higher than Abigail. Definitely think you'll enjoy this one.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely seeing this one. Guy Ritchie. He's one of the few names that I just see on a movie and I'm like, yeah, I'm in. That's an easy watch for me.
Yeah, that's why I think I'm gonna watch The Gentleman now on Netflix finally.
Yeah,
it's everything he does is great.
And Ty, I don't know if I missed it, but what'd you end up giving this one?
8.5.
8. Hell yeah. Ungentlemanly Warfare. What a name that I have to fucking type out here. That's really annoying.
It's so long. I've just been writing Ungentlemanly Warfare.
But that works here. So let's see here, Ty. If we plug that one in, and actually I got mine in here. That currently has it sitting at third place.
Okay, that sounds about right.
That makes sense. And given what I like about Guy Ritchie, or know about how I like Guy Ritchie movies, that feels like that might be one to stay.
Yeah, I think you're definitely. I know for a fact you'll really like this one. You'll probably be in about the same range as I am, if not higher.
Awesome.
It starts off so funny, like it starts off right away, just with a bang.
Perfect. Exactly how I like his movies too.
Yeah, you'll definitely be hooked.
Yeah, that's one I got to see quickly here. Wait, Alex Pettifer. Why do I know that name? He was. Oh, yeah, he was in Magic Mike. That's funny enough. That is why I know his name, because was it freshman year? Yeah, freshman year of college. That is who I was for Halloween.
Funnily enough, that's also the guy that's got his nips hooked up to a battery.
It makes sense. Makes sense. Awesome. A lot of action movies here on this list. So I got another one here. It is Monkey Man, which we and many others have dubbed Indian John Wick. Yeah, but after watching it, I think I disagree with that. And mostly because John Wick is pinnacle assassin. Like, that's who he's known as. He is, you don't fuck with this dude. Mm-hmm. And everyone knows who he is. He is highly, incredibly trained, just all around badass. Mm-hmm. Monkey Man is not that. He is an unknown dude who is trained, but like, you can't call him trained at the same level as John Wick, who's a fucking multi-decade assassin.
Killing machine, yeah.
That just doesn't make sense. So comparing him to John Wick in that sense just didn't work. The fight scenes, action scenes were still really, really, really well coordinated, and were super fun to watch. The music actually might have been my favorite part of this movie.
Wow.
All of it. It just gets me hyped. They have some like, normal modern rap music that just, you get the bass going. You're like, fuck yeah, let's go. You get hyped. And also some like heavier Indian music, which I was like, wait, are they like, is this like Screamo Indian? Because I'm like, this definitely isn't English. And it was just, it gets you going. It's really exciting music. Overall, it was good enough. I actually also had this as a 7.
Okay.
And as I think about it, it's probably more like a 7.5. Okay. I definitely did like it better than Knox Goes Away, so it doesn't make sense for me to have them at the same rating. So I will adjust that. It is very familiar type of story.
Okay, that's kind of what I figured.
Yeah, it's kind of the sense where dude remembers stuff from his childhood because his mother gets killed. He wants revenge. Mm-hmm. That's basically it. A story that's been told a billion times. However, it is done well in a fun way. Like I said, the action's good. The fight scenes are good. He wears... I wish there was more of him in the monkey mask. He kind of only wears it when he does like... I guess you can call it like prize fighting, where that's like how he makes his money. He also like waits normal tables and stuff like that as a joke. But he does fight in a ring with a monkey mask on, and that's really the only time he wears it. But I wanted him to wear it more, like when he was fighting the actual bad guys, but he really doesn't, which was a shame. The bad guy in this movie is basically just steroided up Freddie Mercury. Like no joke, same exact face, jawline, mustache, everything. And Freddie Mercury was part Indian, so it makes sense. But straight up looked like Freddie Mercury if he lifted weights and didn't have AIDS. So that I couldn't get over that. Like, I don't know if it was on purpose or not to make him look that way, but that is 100% who he looked like. He was a good enough villain. He's just kind of like captain of this military type group. I think, and I'm not positive, this is just a little bit of my ignorance here about like Indian politics and stuff. Mm-hmm. I think there are some political things that might be real in India that are in this movie, but I don't know enough to say if that's true or not. Mm-hmm. It felt like it was based off of real things, like this new leader coming in and basically taking over this land from these group of Indians who live there forever. That felt like a real thing that happened over there. But I'm not 100% positive, so I could definitely be wrong. But overall, enjoyable film, definitely worth a watch. Like I said, I think I said I gave it a 7. Makes more sense for me to bump it up to a 7.5. So that is what I will go with.
Okay, how about the runtime? What do you think of it?
It did feel long. Okay. Mostly, the beginning is definitely very fast paced. I'd say the first hour even is pretty fast paced. Okay. It does slow down, and you'll definitely know exactly when it slows down. Mm-hmm. And it starts to go into the more like psychological, you take this fucking drug and think about why you're in so much pain. And that's when you get the flashback to like what happened to him to make him Monkey Man, I guess. And that part was, it's informative. It needs to be done because it lets you know why he's so angry. But it was definitely way slower than the first part of the movie. The ending scene, it's probably 10, 15 minutes. It's pretty wild. I will say a gripe I did have with the movie was a lot of it was hand-to-hand combat and knives. Mm-hmm. And that's the other thing that's like not really comparable to John Wick. John Wick's guns. Yeah. And I'm like, man, if anyone had a gun, he would be fucked. Is really what it felt like. And there are some times where people have guns and he just immediately disarms them. But if more than 2 people had a gun at any point in this movie, he would have been dead. There's actually a scene where there's a bunch of fighting going on, and it's all, like I said, hand-to-hand combat. Even the bad guys are just knives and whatever pointy things they can use. And this lady comes in with a handgun and just fucks a bunch of people up. I'm like, yeah, exactly. That's my point. And like, of course, main character syndrome. He has that plot armor. But that was kind of a gripe. I'm like, if anyone had a gun, this is just over.
Okay, I gotcha.
So, but either way, feel like I went on there pretty long, but it was a good movie, definitely worth watching. And congrats to Dev Patel for his first time directing and writing. It worked out.
Yeah, Dev Patel's awesome. So definitely gonna watch this one. I'm glad you got to see it worse, and I'm glad I got to get your take first. So I'll definitely watch this one, and we'll see how I end up liking it. I'll keep this next one short and simple because we got some NFL draft to watch.
Yeah, right.
Did it start yet? It's about to start?
We got time. Goodell's going to talk his ass off.
Perfect. So I remember like months ago, this film, Sasquatch Sunset, got brought up on the pod, and I said something about how, it was getting good reviews at whatever the hell film festival. I'm going to be interested in this because I like Sasquatches. Oh, that shit's interesting. Man, if only I knew. So let's just talk about one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I knew going into it that it's either like gonna be a like it or absolutely hate it deal based on just what I've read and the reviews I've seen. And immediately, as soon as I sat down, I knew I was gonna hate it. There were 3 other people in the theater, which I'm shocked that many people even wanted to watch this movie. It was genuinely, and I mean this, one of the most boring movies I've ever seen in my life. And I'll never get that hour and a half back of my life. It somehow has a 6 on IMDb and a 60 Metacritic score. Somehow has 71% of critics' approval rating. And this is where I more align. 30% of audience approval on Rotten Tomatoes. I get going for something original, and I'm good for them for trying. But this just isn't fucking it. I think it would have been a lot better if they did like do something goofy, like have the Sasquatches talk or something like that. But this entire movie is just 4 or 5 Sasquatches sitting around, walking around, grunting, fucking a couple times. Some die, they shit and piss all over a road, and they just kind of just walk around and do shit. Xfinity app, and I was like,
you're back.
I don't know what the fuck happened. All of a sudden I was talking, and then it just like everything was like, you lost your internet. I looked at my phone, the internet was gone too. Everything was just gone. And then I was like, went on my Xfinity app, and it was like, your router is off. I was like, what? And then I went to start troubleshooting it, and then my Wi-Fi kicked back on. I was like, what the hell? No idea what happened. We have it now, though.
Here we are.
If only I could remember where I was at in the middle
you
of my...
You were talking about them walking around and fucking every now and then.
Okay, here we go. So this movie is literally, I mean, that's the whole movie right there. You just nailed the whole plot of the whole movie. It's just 4 or 5 Sasquatches sitting around, walking around, fucking. Some die, and they take a shit and piss a couple times. They try to be like real gross and edgy with it and like graphic for no reason. Did you hear about how I talked about how they can't somehow hear heavy equipment?
No. You were talking about plot holes.
Huge plot holes because they can somehow hear each other banging on sticks on trees from miles away, but they can't hear something like heavy equipment logging trees or campers like tenting out and shit, but they can hear like sticks on trees. There's no way. That pissed me off too. I almost walked out not once but twice. I just wish I did because this movie was so bad. I'm gonna give it a 2 over a 1 only because there's one funny part in the movie, and I'll tell you that part right now. So it's when the alpha male Sasquatch is fucked up on a mushroom that he ate. He wants to get laid by his female companion, but she doesn't want to. So he goes and tries to fuck a cougar and gets mauled. He gets mauled to death.
Hell yeah.
They discover his body the next day, like being like ripped apart and eaten by the cougar. And they're trying to throw rocks to scare the cougar away, but they keep hitting the male Sasquatch in the head, and you see his like his head just keep getting nailed by rock. That was really funny. That was like the only decently funny part of the whole movie. Everything else was just boring as shit. And that's really it. It was just a boring movie. Nothing really redeeming about it. I don't know what these people are talking about, and they're giving it good reviews.
No.
What the fuck? It lost me again. Oh my god. Never mind.
Sasquatch just heard you. They hate.
I'm being targeted here. I don't know by who or what.
They run.
This is crazy. I was gonna say let's look at some reviews here and see what people that gave it a positive review think about it, but I'll probably fall out again. So at this point, all that matters is don't see this movie because it sucks.
Fair enough. That's a good way to end it here, Ty, before you get kicked out again. Sleep with one eye open tonight because they're coming.
There might be a Sasquatch in the house. I don't know what's going on.
But Bears are on the clock. If they don't draft Caleb Williams, that's really stupid. But I think it's time for the draft.